it for you there.
More news now, and a company has been fined £50,000 after a 6-year-old girl died after she was trapped in an electronic gate outside her home in Manchester.
Semelia Campbell had been playing with a friend. Cheshire Gate and Automation Limited had admitted corporate manslaughter, as Nick QURAISHI now reports.
Semelia Campbell, described as a happy child and one whose death was totally avoidable. One June evening in 2010, the gates behind her new house opened to allow a car in. As Semelia ran back and forth through the closing gap, she was crushed against the gate post. Cheshire Gate and Automation Limited, run by its sole director Kristen Kearns, pleaded guilty to corporate manslaughter.
They haven't made sure that the safety aspects in relation to the motor and the gate were sufficient. So the gate should have shut. And if it met an obstacle, it should have either stopped and then just reversed a small fraction so that nobody could become trapped in there.
There is now a separate pedestrian gate at the complex, clearly evidence that lessons have been learned, but there's still a permanent reminder here of what happened on June the 28th.
5.5 years on, the court was told that Semelia's mother Judith feels guilty. Guilty because just 4 weeks before this accident, she'd moved her family here in the hope that Semelia would have somewhere safe to play at the back of her house. The judge said she got nothing to feel guilty about.
Outside court today, the family gathered and Semelia's sisters spoke on behalf of their mother.
Whilst it is of some comfort that Cheshire Gates have been held accountable for their actions, I will never forget the fear in my daughter's eyes when she was trapped between the gate. My memories of Semelia have forever been tainted by the events of the 28th of June 2010.
Cheshire Gate and Automation will have to pay its £50,000 fine at a rate of £8,000 a year. It will also have to give details of the case in local newspapers. The court was told no amount of money would compensate for the loss of this 6-year-old. Nick QURAISHI, ITV News, Manchester.
Well, the charity Gate Safe was set up following Semelia's death. Its founder, Richard Jackson, told us how many unsafe gates could be out there.
On the basis of the work we've done, we do audits around the country on a regular basis, and there are less than 10% of the gates that we believe are safe. So that probably means there's close on 700,000 unsafe gates in the UK.
That's a truly shocking figure, especially when we've already heard of the deaths of 2 children.
It's frightening, and really there have been a further 5 deaths associated with automatic gates since their deaths, and there can only be more waiting to happen until the gate safety is taken more seriously.
And these will be communal gates for apartments and car parks, but also privately owned ones?
Privately owned gates, gates to factories, you name it, we all go through an automatic gate very regularly, even if it's a car park barrier. You know, they have the ability to cause serious hurt, and again, a lot of those aren't safe.
So, if you have an automatic gate that you own that's faulty in this way or hasn't been installed properly, is it your fault?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have got a gate that you're unsure of, you really ought to get a professional, ideally a gate safe installer to check it out for you. There are nearly 600 installers in the UK, and that number's rising consistently.
Or
but if that gate damages, hurts anyone, the owner of the property would be liable.
If you perhaps know of a gate that you are worried might be unsafe, what should you do about it?
If it's your gate, you should really put it into manual and then call out an expert to do a risk assessment for you. If it's someone else's gate, bring it to the attention of the owner of the property.
And ignorance is no defence?
Absolutely not. You know, all gates and machines, all machines should be safe, and they should also be maintained on a regular basis.
So what would you say to somebody who's maybe turning a blind eye to something like this at the moment?
You're really taking a huge risk. The moral responsibility of, you know, something happening is something I certainly wouldn't want to live with. Forgetting about the huge fine that could be around the corner.
More of the day's news, and hospitals and GP surgeries in the North West are leading the way in providing 7-day NHS